But I think that takes us to our last article, and it's an article on Jeff Bezos, and he's been investing in, he has been in venture capital, or right, he's been
He opened a venture capital firm in 2005.
so he's, ever since, he's been taking off, he's been investing in companies left and right. And they did a recent study of like kind of the companies that he's invested in over the last few years. And they have a really common trait right now is that they're all heavily focused on the digital marketplace and sustainability, but also they're all kind of targeting like Gen Z. So there's companies like Overtime Sports. There's Lumo, which was like a data analytics for like e-commerce stores, and it's really neat kind of to see kind of the approach that he's been taking with that. And it's cool because if you look at kind of like the industries over the next like 10 to 20 years, they're going to grow as far as like money going into them. It's financial literacy, it's sustainability, and all these different areas that he's kind of making sure that he's got his mark all over in different startups across the country.
Yeah, and one that I really want to talk about is Overtime Sports. I mean, if you're someone kind of like, our generation, you're probably pretty, and if you're a sports fan, you're probably pretty familiar with Overtime Sports. I know they've gone really heavily on turning, a lot of their, key employees into influencers as well, just building a brand not only around a certain topic or niche, but they're also trying to build the personal brands of the people that work at Overtime. And I think that's something that's really cool and stand out about the company. I saw that like they got in one series $80 million in funding and $100 million in funding in another series, which is kind of unbelievable to me that they are a content company, and you're seeing the creator economy now here in 2022 that content companies can get serious 9-figure funding, and now they're a 9-figure valuation at $500 million.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how they're doing that take of turning their employees into influencers. And one of the things that I'm curious about is in doing that, where you give your employees so much freedom to go ahead and create their own personal brand, which I think is great, but it also opens up that option of, can those people just go ahead and leave the company now that they've established their own brand themselves?
It was really cool that you brought up, the personal brands of, a company like Overtime with their employees, is because, and you also kind of see this with the esports companies, where they give the company name before, the person's actual name for their personal brand. Also, when we're talking about the last topic with the quiet quitting, people not being as engaged in work, wanting to leave the company, maybe look for another job, this makes it a lot harder if your whole personal brand is based around working for a company. And I'm sure that it also improves your morale when it comes to working for that company as well. Like, you just enjoy working there because your brand is kind of based around that company. We see that with FaZe Clan, like FaZe Rug, and like all this other stuff. So it's I just think it's fascinating. Content companies been able to build, a 9-figure valuation. Really inspiring. There are a lot of other cool companies that he's investing in this year too. I think 9 in total.
Do you think part of their business model is getting a percentage of their personal brands deals and stuff like that as well? So let's say, you work for Overtime and you're an influencer for them. Do you think that they get a share of all the deals that they get that are because their name is, associated to the brand?
No question. And the example which I think is a very famous example, is when it comes to, the WWE wrestler John Cena. His name is John Cena. That's his birth name. But WWE holds the actual commercial rights to it. So every time John Cena stars in a movie, he stars in, a commercial or whatever, him using his personal brand, everything he does with his real name in it, he has to give a cut to WWE because they own the commercial rights to his name, because they made him who he is pretty much and gave him that personal brand. So I think 100% they take some percentage of everything that these people make.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We're going to be posting these videos Monday through Friday. Again, James, Jack, and Josh with the School of Hard Knocks. Leave a like, subscribe. We got tons of great new content coming for you guys. See you guys next time.